Hello and welcome to the Building a Personal Brand course. So this is a course that is going to basically enable me to teach you how to start a personal brand from scratch. What this will enable you to do is use your face as something to sell. You know what I mean? I'm sure you've heard of the term personal brand before, Everybody who's got an online presence, even right now, if I can tell you the truth, you do have a personal brand. You have probably a Facebook, you've got a TikTok, you've got maybe for some of you, you even have a YouTube channel. It's basically how people can see you through other platforms. That is what a personal brand is. And in this course today, I am going to teach you how to build a personal brand from scratch, which is going to enable you to print money on demand. Now, imagine being the first person that comes to mind when someone thinks of your field or your particular niche. That is the power of personal brand. Whether you're a freelancer, an entrepreneur, or a professional, building your brand is the key to standing out and unlocking new opportunities. Basically, when you have a personal brand, it's what people are going to be able to see your portfolios, what you're capable of, and basically people will be able to see just who you are and how trustworthy you are to do business with. If you are a freelancer and you have a personal brand, let's say on Instagram, that showcases what you're able to do in your field as a freelancer, it means a lot of people who are just looking for freelancers, you will be one of the first to show up on their results when they're looking for a freelancer. And if you have like a personal brand on Instagram, it means that people will be able to trust you. You have that kind of, you have that kind of authority in your niche, right? So that's basically what the importance of a personal brand is. A personal brand is the unique combination of skills, experiences, and personality that you want the world to see. It is how you can represent yourself online and offline, what you stand for, and what people say about you. When you're not in the room, what people say about you when you're not in the room. So basically, what I can give an example of a personal brand is what Elon Musk has built, right? Elon Musk has built a personal brand which his companies like SpaceX and Tesla ride on. Tesla doesn't spend any money on advertising simply because of Elon Musk's personal brand. So, what a personal brand does is it's what is going to speak for you. You know what I mean? Elon Musk doesn't have to jump on podcasts or to start running TikTok ads to start saying, oh, Tesla is the best car. All he has to do is work on his personal brand and everything else is going to follow. That's basically how a personal brand works. It's something that is going to speak for you even when you're not in the room. Let's talk about why personal branding matters. Number one, visibility. It cuts through the noise and helps you get noticed. We live in a very hyper-competitive world, which means everybody wants the money that you want. The money that you're chasing and working so hard to get. Trust me, there are 100,000, at least 100,000 people who are aiming towards the same thing that you're doing. 100,000 people want your client. 100,000 people want the money that your clients would have sent you. So now what building a personal brand does, especially a strong personal brand, is it's going to cut through all the noise for the sake of your clients, right? It's going to make sure that you are going to stand out from all the other people who want to get what you want. The second thing is it builds credibility. It builds trust with your audience. One thing that is very stressful about business is business owners don't want to work with somebody who they don't know. And that's just what it is. Even as I'm running my marketing agency, sometimes businesses that have never heard of me before or never watched my YouTube channel are not following me on Instagram, it seems they are very skeptical to work with me. Of course, I do have good sales skills, so you can tell that they are interested, but they are quite skeptical because They simply just don't know who I am and don't know what I'm capable of. They don't know if they pay me, if I'm going to just run away with their money. That's basically what they are afraid of, and that's one of the biggest obstacles in business. So even when it comes to building a personal brand, you need to make sure you have built a strong one for people to be able to work with you. The third thing is it brings opportunities. It attracts jobs, clients, and partnerships. Imagine having a system that enables you to not do cold outreach, to not go screaming about your personal brand, screaming about your skills, screaming about your credibility, but if clients are able to just come in your DMs and try talking to you and want to work with you, that is so much better than chasing clients with no personal brand. Let me give Iman Gaji, for instance. For him to start making millions of dollars with his marketing agency, it means that he took away the stress from reaching out to clients. There was a point where he was no longer doing cold outreach or cold calling, right? Or maybe he put that to a minimum. But that was because at the time his personal brand started being built to a level where clients used to notice him and reach out to him instead of, him just doing the cold outreach efforts to attract clients to work with the business. That is what scaled this business to millions of dollars at age 18. So let's talk about control. That's 4. The fourth thing is control. You shape your professional narrative, which means it's you who chooses how you want people to perceive you. It's more like you are your personal public relations assistant, right? You don't need a PR in terms of looking for opportunities for you or discussing how your products or services can serve your clients well. Even while you're asleep in bed, your personal brand can do exactly that. It can distribute the message that you want your clients to see, that you don't want to tell them personally. Think of your personal brand as a digital handshake. It's the first impression you make even before you speak. Did you hear that? Once you have a good personal brand, people won't even need to reach out to you directly to ask about your services. People will just take a good look at you online and determine whether you're a worthy person to work with or not. Let's say, for instance, you're meeting somebody for the first time. You're going to rely on their handshake and the eye contact that they make. You need to see it from their eyes and the grip of their handshake that, this person is trustworthy, or this person can do business the correct way, or this person even likes us to begin with. You can all see that through the handshake. Myself, I'm a business owner. As young as I am, of course, I will reach a point in time where I'm hiring people on mass scale. And of course, I'm going to be seeing through the handshake, right? I shake your hand and it's a weak handshake. Then you've just lost your opportunity to be hired by me. So, yeah, let's look at a personal brand as your digital handshake. It's the first impression that you make to clients or stakeholders, professional shareholders. Now, before you can build a personal brand, you need to know yourself. Number 1, you need to define your values and your passions. What do you care deeply about? What motivates you to get up in the morning? First things first, you need to look at what you're really passionate about. I can't answer that question for you. It's you who needs to tell me, right, that you're passionate about this particular topic. Okay, you're passionate about this particular topic. Let's say, for instance, you are passionate about farming. Let me not say farming, because this is going to be farming is a little bit complicated. I'm a farmer myself, so that's why I'm saying it's going to be a little bit complicated to explain it to you in a way that you can understand. Let's say, for instance, you are a baker, right? You bake cakes, right? Totally away from the online space, which shows that I'm not only talking about online. These skills can be used broadly. Let's say you bake cakes, right? You're passionate about baking the cakes. Whenever you wake up in the morning, you are so passionate and you can't wait to start baking a cake. Every time somebody tastes your cake, you're going to be complimented non-stop to say, wow, you serve the best cakes ever, right? Let's say you have this as a particular skill, right? This can be used as your personal brand. You can take all of that expertise, take the pictures of the cakes, put them on TikTok, put them on Instagram, put your face on it, and be consistent, build some kind of following, and just like that, you are building a personal brand. Number 2, you need to identify your strengths and your superpowers. What do people consistently praise you for? And what skills do you bring to the table? Or falling back to what I mentioned earlier, what thing that you do people consistently praise you for? Are you a good speaker like I am? Are you good at marketing? Are you good at sales? Are you good at persuading people? Are you good at baking? Are you good at, I don't know, what other valuable skill can I say? Are you good at counting or keeping money? Saving money is a valuable skill that you can learn, and it's something that I have commended people for in the past. You need to look at what you do and find a way to monetize it and turn it into a personal brand. Now, number 3, you need to assess your current reputation. How do others perceive you? Use a 360-degree survey. Ask your friends, colleagues, and clients for honest feedback. You need to see where you currently stand in the market. Let's say, for instance, you already have a personal brand. Let's say on Facebook, you talk about how to bake cakes or how to smoke chicken, right? You need to ask clients or the people who are around you, not just relying on your own personal feedback. Ask the people who are around you to say, how do you view me in this particular niche? You can even ask 3 random people who follow you and ask them a random question. Maybe not just follow, because some people just follow out of following, but let's say people who consistently comment and like your content. Reach out to them directly and ask to say, how do you perceive me? Is there any discrepancies or inconsistencies in my personal brand or my personality? Then you will know for sure what you need to do in order to align directly with your personal brand. Here's an interactive exercise for you. You need to write down what you think people associate with you. What this will do is it's going to put things into perspective, right? What people associate with you is very important when it comes to your personal brand. When people associate motorbikes with you, it will be very difficult to sell cakes. If you are associated with cakes, it will be very difficult for you to sell motorbikes, and that's just how it is. I'm not saying it's impossible, I'm just saying it's way difficult, right? Your story of the heart. Your story is the heart of the brand. It makes you relatable and memorable. You need to have a story behind your personal brand. When people hear about your name, what is the first thing they think of? They shouldn't just be, oh, is that guy who sells this? There needs to be a solid story behind your personal brand that makes people actually want to spend money with you, right? You need to develop a brand narrative. That's number 1. Where did you start? What challenges have you overcome? And what are your goals and aspirations? You need to be a little bit vulnerable here. You need to have a system that enables your viewers to see where you started, the challenges that you overcame or overcome in the current moment, right? Because sometimes clients might be following you, but for some reason they won't want to work with your personal brand. They will just work with others. But if they see the challenges that you're going through, who knows, by a stroke of luck, maybe they'll just be like, this particular guy is going through a lot of challenges, so I'm going to work with him to alleviate some of those challenges. And heck, he's even qualified in the field to the point where people even follow him for this craft, so they expect you to do the service in the best possible way. Then you talk about your goals and aspirations. You talk about where you want to take your company or your business. your marketing agency, how many clients do you want to handle by the end of the year? You need to talk about all of these things. And the best way I can tell you on how to do this is by opening a YouTube channel, right? This is a paid program, so I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm going to just go ahead and tell you to say you need to open a YouTube channel with your personal name and your personal face. Because if you don't open a YouTube channel, it will be very difficult for you to share your message in the best possible way, in long format content. Of course, YouTube doesn't enable you to blow up in 2 days or 3 days. It does take some time, but with time, people will start to see your content and they'll start to relate it with you, and people will be able to work with you better, right? So now, create your elevator pitch. A 30-second summary of who you are, what you do, and why it matters, right? This can be posted anywhere. TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts. This 30-second clip can be posted literally anywhere, right? And another way to do this is by making like 5-minute, 10-minute videos talking about this one by one. So, for example, you don't need to make a whole video talking about who you are, because a lot of that may come off as narcissistic to your potential clients. But what you do and why it matters. These two are something that you need to talk about like your life depends on it. You just need to talk about it non-stop. Never stop talking about it. You talk about who you are just a little bit, not too much, just for people to understand where you're coming from and exactly who you are and how you think. But you need to really focus on what you do and why it matters and how you do it that makes you stand out from your competitors. I hope you're taking notes. For example, if I help small businesses grow by making complex marketing and simple and actionable, right? If I run ads for businesses, I need to actually do what I currently do on my YouTube channel. If you see my YouTube channel, I basically talk about social media marketing and how I do it differently. I talk about all of these different business aspects. I talk about business to attract my business owner clients. You know what I mean? So I help businesses grow by making complex marketing simple and actionable. That is exactly what I do. I make sure that business owners don't spend ad money unnecessarily. Ad spend. I need to make sure ad spend is spent in the best possible way to avoid wastage or losses. And this is something that clients find to be very, very valuable. Chapter 4, you need to identify your niche and your audience. Stand out by focusing on, you can't be everything to everyone. The strongest brands are specific, right? You can't say that you are let me just give this example. You can't say you are a business brand, right? I've seen a lot of people like this on the internet to say, oh, this is a business brand where we basically talk about business. Well, yeah, but there are totally different types of business in this world. There is online business, there is e-commerce, there is farming business, there is car business, there is airplane business, there is rocket business. There's a lot of types of businesses. So you can't just say you're in the business niche, right? You need to narrow down your niche, make it as small as possible, and surprisingly, that is going to attract the most clients possible. I know you may think to say when you broaden out your niche into the entire business niche, everybody in the business industry will want to work with you, right? That is false. It's just simply people who are desperate to get their business off the ground. Those are the people who you attract. But imagine having a brain problem, right? Imagine this analogy. You have a brain problem, you have a brain tumor, and you need to get surgery from a doctor. They tell you to choose between two doctors. A neurosurgeon who is specialized in brain science and how to operate the brain or a general practitioner, which is just a regular doctor who is specialized in pretty much everything, where he can help you with your joint pains, he can help you with your headaches, he can help you with your heart rate and everything, help you with your nutrition. Among these two doctors, who would you choose to operate on your brain? If you're not mentally insane, you would say you want to go with a specialized doctor, because there's nothing else he knows more than to take the brain tumor away from your brain. Of course, the specialist will always be more expensive in terms of their pricing, but they will always do the better job because they're simply specialized in their field. Now, you need to choose your niche. What unique value do you offer? And who benefits most from your expertise? Now, in this section, you need to think of your ideal client. You need to think, what do your ideal client do the first thing they wake up in the morning? You need to obsess over your ideal client. What is the first thing that they do when they wake up in the morning? Do they grab their phone? Do they go jogging? All of these pieces of data you need to know. And you need to say, okay, what is the biggest value proposition that I offer? What thing do people really benefit from me working with them? You need to put that into consideration, write it down, and use those pieces of data to come up with your ideal audience. Let's say, for example, weight loss programs for postpartum moms, right? If postpartum moms are your ideal clients, then you've really specified and specialized your niche. But you can't just say workouts. I help with workouts. What kind of workouts? Are they workouts for bodybuilders? Are they workouts for women? Are they workouts for children? Are they workouts for overweight boys? Are they workouts for overaged people who are working? You need to really specialize your niche. If you're talking about workouts, talk about, let's say, weight loss programs for postpartum moms, or weight loss programs for busy CEOs who don't have the time to go to the gym. All of these things can be narrowed down and you can work with it. Then you need to understand your audience. Falling back to what I talked about earlier, you talk about who they are, what are their needs, their challenges, and their dreams. Once you find all of these things, you jot them down on paper. Don't be one of those entrepreneurs who will buy a program, a masterclass like this, and just watch it like you're watching on YouTube. It means you're wasting your own money. Don't come to me at the end of the month saying, this is a scam, I'm not making any money, I haven't gotten better academically. This is basically something that you really need to pay attention to. Treat this like you are in class, for crying out loud. Get a pen and a paper. If you haven't been taking notes, go to the beginning of this video and take some notes. Otherwise, all this is for nothing. I'm telling you the truth, right? Now, chapter 5. You need to design your brand identity. Look the part, online and offline. You need to have your stereotype, your brand stereotype. If you're a doctor and your personal brand wants to be in health, right? You need to, let's say, if you're just a general practitioner, I would say having a YouTube channel on just general medicine might not work as well in terms of just specializing in one thing. Even if you are a general doctor, it won't hurt to specialize in something that you feel you might excel in the most, like eye care. You know what I mean? If you make a whole YouTube channel about eye care, talking about what you should do for your eyes, how long you should use your devices, what sun gazing can do, the foods that you need to take in order to have better eyes. Focus on eyes, and what can contribute to your brand stereotype is by wearing glasses yourself. Maybe not spectacles, but maybe even blue light glasses. When you're recording your videos, you're wearing a pair of blue light glasses. It just adds to, oh, this guy really knows what he's talking about, because he's not talking from out of the blue. He wears blue light blockers even as he records his videos, which just skyrockets your your credibility. So yeah, visual branding. You need to have a profile photo, a high quality, friendly, and professional profile photo. That's the first thing that people see before they interact with your brand. Your logo and your monogram, that's optional, but of course sometimes when you have like a company, a logo is something that is very important, but I feel like a monogram is something that should be more optional. Then consistent color palette and fonts across your platforms. Across all of your platforms, you need to have a consistent color palette that literally tells the viewer that you are still on this guy's page, right? People need to know to say, oh, whenever I see this particular color palette or this particular logo, I'm interacting with this guy's content. And that can be very, very powerful. Now, let's look at your brand voice. Are you formal? Are you friendly? Are you witty? Are you authoritative? You need to also look at your stereotype, your brand stereotype. If you are a doctor who gives medical advice, I would expect you to be more witty and friendly. If you are somebody who gives out business advice to let's say startup entrepreneurs who want to start working online in the e-commerce niche, you would need to be more authoritative, because you know such brands are very broad and not a lot of people can teach them. And sometimes when it comes to teaching online stuff, you need to be more authoritative. Like for me, I like to think of myself as more authoritative. When I talk to you, I don't talk to you in a sense of maybe this works, maybe this doesn't work. Whenever I hop on these video courses, I am authorized, right? I am the leader, you are the follower. You paid for my course, so you need to listen to me. I'm telling you because I'm above you, quite basically, right? I'm not saying this to demean you. I'm saying this in a term of, okay, when you start doing your own thing, you don't need to allow your personal client to come in and start taking the lead, because that is going to shoot you in the foot, right? You're going to let your client walk all over you, which you don't want to. But it's not every niche that you have to be. Okay, let me just be honest. Every single niche, you have to be authoritative. Authoritative, right here. Authoritative needs to be very, 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 very much poured out into every single niche. If your niche is baking cakes, still you need to be authoritative, because you need to tell people that you have the best cakes in the city. And all of these others, witty, friendly, formal, they don't need to apply everywhere. Of course, for me personally, I'm just friendly like that. I'm authoritative, but you can tell from my courses and my videos that I'm just genuinely friendly and I'm witty. But I'm not very formal, if I'm going to be honest with you. If I'm trying to be formal, it means I'm just trying to be formal, or maybe I'm in a bad mood. But in a general state, I am not formal. You know what I mean? I'm just not a formal guy. Yeah. And I was staring at something that can catalyze some catastrophe. Jesus Christ. So, your tone should match your audience and your goals. The tone that you use in your videos, or let's just say your copy, it needs to match the people who you are trying to target. Like the way I've said to say, you need to be authoritative in every single industry, but it's not every single industry that will require you to be formal. It's not every single industry that will require you to be friendly. It's not every single industry that will enable you to be witty, right? You need to pick these depending on the industry that you are working in. If you're in construction, you don't need to be friendly, right? And you don't need to be witty. You need to be formal. If you're in medicine, you need to be formal. If you're in something like, I don't know, very few people have these types of jobs, but maybe unboxing products, then you need to be more, friendly but authoritative, but again, very witty in a sense. I don't know. That's not an industry that I've tapped in, right? So basically, I feel like you've understood this part enough. Let me move on. We spend the whole day on just one particular area. Aligning your appearance, words, and actions. Make sure you look, communication, and behavior all reinforces your brand. The way you look, the way people look at you, the way you dress, it needs to be, let me say, it needs to be in a way that conveys that you are for the brand that you are working in. Like, if you are in the real estate niche, you need to make sure you dress like you're in real estate. You talk like you're in real estate. You behave like you're in real estate. If you're in the education niche, talk like you're in education. Dress like you're in education. Pretend like you're in education. Even if you are not really, let's say, authority in your niche yet, right? You're not really an authority in your niche yet. You don't know much and you haven't covered enough skill. It doesn't mean that you can't lead your particular niche. It simply means you just need to be more in tune with your personal brand, right? This can be covered in depth, especially if you have any questions. Make sure to ask them in the question section above. Now, here's a simple exercise. Create a simple style guide with your colors, fonts, and your brand adjectives. Your YouTube channel. In your thumbnails, your fonts should be consistent. Your colors should be consistent. And, that's basically what you need to do. If you're posting on YouTube, every single thumbnail should look identical. Every single font that you use in your thumbnail should just be the same. Pick that palette out, and you need to connect them to you yourself as a person, right? So now let's go to chapter 6. Building your digital presence. Where and how you show up. Number 1, you need to audit and optimize your social media profile. With LinkedIn, you can complete your profile, use keywords, and ask for recommendations. With Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, you can have a consistent bio, handle, and imagery, as this all connects to your brand's presence. Your personal website or your portfolio. Your digital home base. It showcases your work, your story, and your contact info, right? Your personal website or your portfolio, maybe even your landing page. For some of you, you might not want to have an entire website, but even just a landing page. It's your home where everything that you do, everything that you stand for, your story, your contact details, how people can get into contact with you, how they can start working with you, all of these details should be in this section. I wouldn't recommend it to be on your Facebook or your Instagram because, okay, you can put everything on your Facebook and Instagram, but let's just say people won't pay more attention to that. On your Facebook and Instagram and your TikTok, you can basically put a link to your landing page or your website where basically everything that you do can be showcased to your potential clients. 3. Content creation. Share your expertise. Write articles, post videos, or start a podcast. Curate content that aligns with your brand values and interests. So, like I said earlier, when you are in a personal, when you are trying to build a personal brand and you have a particular skill, you need to consistently create content that talks about that particular skill, so that if people think about your field, they think about you. Like when they look at you, they say, "Oh, that's the sales guy." You know what I mean? "Oh, that's the marketing guy on the internet. Oh, I know that guy. That guy is the guy who talks about cooking. He's the chef guy." You know what I mean? As much as sometimes it can be offensive where people just call you these other different names, yeah, as much as people may call you all these different other names, it's kind of reinforcing to your brand that people know you as this particular authority, and so they can trust you with X and Y projects. Yeah. So a graphic designer posts weekly design tips on LinkedIn and Instagram, attracting freelance clients and speaking gigs. So let's say, for instance, you're a graphic designer or a video editor. How do you get clients for this? You need to post your work on Instagram, edit videos consistently, and post them. Just showcase them to say, hey, here is what I edited today. Here's what I edited this week. And you can also go on LinkedIn, Fiverr, and Upwork, and also post things like this, more like a portfolio for people to see what you do. And you can attract opportunities from your potential clients, or maybe even not your potential clients, but even just people who can physically give you opportunities in working in a particular field. Now, growing your influence and your network from presence to impact. Number one, you need to engage authentically, comment thoughtfully on others' posts, and you need to join relevant groups and communities. Number two, you need to collaborate and partner. Guest vlog, co-host webinars, or do Instagram takeovers with peers, right? You need to engage with other people. No man is an island. Talk to other people. Look at brand influencers. Ask to work with them. Look at all of the people who've got larger followings. Ask to work with them, especially if you are in the same niche. You need to collaborate and partner up with other people. Number three, you need to seek the spotlight, the most important thing. Speak at events, contribute to podcasts, and or get featured in media, right? You need to actually be very proactive when you are a business owner. The time you became a business owner was the time you decided to purchase the Distinction Startup. You now need to be proactive. You need to think in terms of, okay, so in order for me to make it work, why do people go on things like TED Talks? Why do people go and do public speaking things? You need to, put yourself out there. Make sure people know that you are the guy they can trust when it comes to these particular things. Here's an exercise. You need to list people you admire in your field, reach out with a genuine compliment or a question. Maybe if the people who you really look up to may be more famous, and so much so they can't really reply to your message, then find somebody who is doing lower. On Facebook there are a lot of these, right, where they are doing well in their industry but they're not that known, which increases the chances of them seeing your message, and you can get mentorship from them. Of course, it's not everything that you can take. Of course, everything that you learn you need to take with a grain of salt. But the thing is, valuable knowledge and non-valuable knowledge can reveal itself in the first impression when it is immediately introduced to you, right? Which means it's you to determine whether the information that you're learning is useful or the information you're learning is completely useless. Number 8, managing and evolving your brand. Consistency and growth. Number 1, you need to monitor your reputation. Google yourself regularly, right? If you can't show up on Google, that's a danger sign. You need to make sure you're optimized for Google search. There are thousands of videos on the internet talking about how to make sure you show up on Google searches, and basically the way I can tell you can do so is just basically by using Google Workspace. Yeah, you need to use Google Workspace, and basically just like that you can have an entire thing set up on Google Webs. When someone searches your brand or your name, they can see all of your expertise and they can show the location, and depending on your search engine optimization, it can even rank first, and that would be a very powerful tool in attracting opportunities for yourself. Set up alerts for your name and brand. You need to actually push your name regularly, right? Like I mentioned earlier, collaborate with influencers, people who will talk about your name regularly, because as much as people might not want to work with you in the start, the more they hear your name, they'll get irritated by you. And the more they get irritated by you, they can't help but say, who is this guy? You know what I mean? And they'll look into your brand, and just like that, you're going to attract a very dedicated following. Number 2, you need to gather feedback and adjust. Ask your audience what resonates. Be open to evolving as you grow. This is self-explanatory. I don't need to explain this anymore. Staying consistent and staying authentic. You need to show up regularly, right? One thing, starting a business is one thing, but building it is another thing. Starting it is easy. Starting a business is extremely, very, very easy. Where people struggle is building it. You need to be able to show up every single day and perform. Because if you don't show up, a business is like a flower nursery. You plant a flower seed quite right. Planting a flower seed is very easy, right? Just put it into the ground and give it a little bit of water. As the flower starts to germinate and grow, it needs more attention, which means you need to show up consistently. Water it 3 times a day. Make sure the soil around it is fertile. Make sure you add some fertilizer. Make sure you add some manure. You know what I mean? You need to make sure you are paying attention to this flower for it to be able to grow. And that's exactly what a business is. Don't try to be someone you're not. Authenticity is a superpower. When you are yourself, it separates you from the others. When somebody, let's say for instance, you join the Distinction Startup, so your success is inevitable. One day you are going to be an authority in your niche. In the future, there will be people who will be posing as you as a scammer, right? Because you are like so dialed in your field that people can't help but envy you. They want to get the type of attention from clients that you're getting. So they'll attempt to steal your clients or maybe even scam your clients. But the thing is, your own personality is non-replicable, which means it's only you who can present it to the world, and nobody can take that from you. Chapter 9, Personal Branding in Action. Real-world examples. Inspiration from success stories. Phil Fallon built a global brand as a strategist by sharing insights and case studies online. Thought leaders. Use storytelling and content to position yourselves as experts, right? It's not... Okay, listen. There's a difference between positioning yourself as an expert and being an expert. Let me tell you a fact right now. The majority, about 95% of people who you see giving advice and online classes online, they are familiar with the field that you're in. They are everything. They know what they're talking about, but they are not the best experts in their field. There are people who are like experts, who are pros, who are gurus in their field, but they just basically don't have a personal brand because they don't know how to monetize their knowledge and their skill set, which puts them at very bad disadvantage. So if you are here watching this and you have a very, very narrowed attention and you have so much knowledge in your industry, it means you are at an advantage because now people can get their insights from somebody who is actually experienced in their field compared to people who just say and position themselves as authorities while they give advice to people. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying to say I'm not an expert in my field. Let's say for instance in personal branding, I'm still an active student. I'm still learning how to do personal branding myself, but here I am just sharing the little insights that I have learned. And in terms of social media marketing, I was able to scale my business to $30,000 a month. So which means I am not really like an authority for like that who makes millions of dollars with agency. But again, I'm not a beginner starter who is still struggling to get clients and retain clients and all of these things. Which means I do have some expertise and you should listen to me, right? Yeah. So everyday professionals. Teachers, consultants, and freelancers who use LinkedIn and Instagram to attract new opportunities. You know what I mean? Yeah. Use social media. Don't be lazy. instead of scrolling, make sure you're making posts. Chapter 10. Your 30-day personal launch plan. Week 1, you need to focus on self-discovery and feedback. Week 2, you need to craft your story and your elevator pitch and your style guide. You need to see what components you need to add in your personal brand, who you are, what you stand for, the difficulty that you've been through, where you're headed, and what you do. All of these need to be found inside of week 2. By week 4, in week 3, you need to optimize your profiles, launch your website, and start posting content. Week 4, you need to network, seek collaborations, and gather feedback. These 1 week slots in time give you more than enough time to come up with a very strong personal brand. I don't need you to rush. I don't need you to put like a weak whack logo on your personal brand and start asking me to say, oh, the advice that you're giving is fake. I wish I never purchased the Distinction Startup. I need you to have some time to actually find these slots in the week where you are working towards your personal brand 1% at a time. I don't need you to rush. I need you to be very diplomatic with how you are running your personal brand. Your personal brand is a promise to the world crafted by you, for you. Starting today, your personal brand is your promise to the world crafted by you, for you. Start today and let your story open doors you never imagined, right? Having a personal brand can attract opportunities that you have never ever imagined, just simply because of being connected to this particular product or this particular service, and it for some reason serves a very good purpose in your market, and it's connected to your face. You have no idea how powerful that is, right? You're going to get sponsorship deals. You're going to have people fly you out so that people can interact with you. People are going to basically want to use your face to sell their products just simply because of how reliable your product is. Bonus resources. Let's see here. I don't have those bonus resources with me, but I will plug them in the later future. If you want to talk about those other things you saw on screen, my YouTube channel can very much help you with that. You just need to watch my channel, and I help with a lot of things basically for free. This course walks you through step by step. This course walks you step by step. This course walks you step by step through building a personal brand from scratch, blending self-discovery, strategy, and real-world action to help you stand out and succeed. So now, just like that, I conclude the personal branding course. I hope you got some valuable insights. Make sure to do the exercise that I've aligned out for you. And if you've got any questions, don't ever feel shy to ask them in the question section above. I wish you all the best in starting a personal brand, and I will be seeing you again inside of the next course.